The way we're going to proceed is we're going to begin with two series of awards. The first will be the awards by the Beauvoir Society, and then we're going to go to the ones done by the Caribbean Philosophical Association. And the way we'll do the one with the Philosophical Association is the more immediate acceptance of the prize will be for the book prizes, because we're going to have a short panel discussion by the Lifetime Achievement Award winners, through which they're able not only to give their acceptance, but are able to articulate their ideas of what this conference is about. Okay? So without further ado, I would like Peg Simons to come up to present the Beauvoir Awards and also something additionally special.
Thanks, Louis. It's my pleasure to present the awards first, if you wouldn't mind, my three young people coming up here. These are the awards for Best Beauvoir Paper by a Senior Scholar and Best Beauvoir Paper by a Graduate Student. The award-winning papers were selected by an anonymous review process from papers on the work of Simone de Beauvoir submitted to the Diverse Lineages of Existentialism conference. So it was the open call for papers. The winners of each award will receive $100 plus the complete 5-volume set hardback of the Beauvoir series donated by the University of Illinois Press, and we decided to mail that to them. I thought, oh no. All right, the winners are the Best Beauvoir Paper by a Junior Scholar is by Dr. Emily Ann Parker, Assistant Professor of Philosophy in the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies at Towson University. Emily?
Thanks so much. It's an honor to be recognized, especially at this conference. But it's also just incredibly humbling because of what you were saying last night about the fact that it's really not possible to do scholarly work except in a context of rich relationships and rich scholarly lineages. And this conference has just been amazing for encouraging appreciation of that. I'm deeply grateful. Thank you.
We have two co-winners for the Best Beauvoir Paper by a Graduate Student. First, Yolanda Graf, a PhD candidate in Comparative Literature at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Thank you so much. I found this conference, just like Emily, to be one of the most humane, warm, stimulating conferences I've ever attended. So I really want to thank Peg and Louis and everybody here for creating that ambiance and really inviting what I thought to be some pretty special conversations that have unfolded. Thank you.
And the Best Beauvoir Paper by a Graduate Student co-winner, Deniz Durmus, PhD candidate in Philosophy and Women's Studies at Pennsylvania State University.
It's my honor to receive this award in front of all these people I read and I admire. It was a very fantastic conference. Thank you very much for being here and for your support. Thanks.
And now I'd like to ask Toby Patterson and Barbara Claw and Catherine Najee to come to the stage with our award winners, please, for the Beauvoir Society Award, and they'll tell you about that.
The International Simone de Beauvoir Society was founded in December 1981 by Professors Conrad Weber, Yolanda, Patterson, and Jacques Sapir after a session on Simone de Beauvoir at the annual convention of the Modern Language Association of America in New York. Zafir became the first president and Yolanda Patterson the first secretary-treasurer. The Society's first newsletter was sent to members in January 1983, and the first issue of Simone de Beauvoir Studies was published in the autumn of 1983. 1983, when the Society had approximately 30 members, Yolanda Patterson became president and Dr. Liliane Lazar, secretary-treasurer. The Society now has approximately 200 members from around the world. Many are university professors, students, and independent scholars in literature, philosophy, political science, women's studies, gender studies, and French language. Since 1991, several conferences have been organized around the world, and this year's wonderful gathering in St. Louis is the 22nd International Conference. My first meeting with the Society was at the conference in Montreal in 2007, and I did not know one single person. And honestly, I was terrified before stepping into the room full of strangers where the reception were held. I just walked over to the first group of people I saw and introduced myself, and I was immediately welcomed and included. And this very friendly and inclusive atmosphere, as well as the interdisciplinary approach, is a hallmark of the Society. In my experience, very unique. It has meant so much to me to be a member of the Society, and the constructive and encouraging comments I have received on my work, as well as what I have learned from the other members, as well as the wonderful people I have met. It's just really amazing. None of this would have been possible if it wasn't for Yolanda and Liliane's more than 30 years of work for the Society and their contributions to Beauvoir scholarship. Today's award is much deserved, and thank you, Peg, for initiating it. Congratulations to both of you. You haven't received it yet because there's got to be more introduction here. Oh. So, yeah.
Yolanda Aspirita Patterson is a professor emerita of French, Spanish, and Women's Studies at California State University, East Bay, where she was named Outstanding Professor of the Year in 1986. She graduated with honors from Smith College and then headed west to study for a master's and a PhD in French at Stanford University, writing her master's thesis on Simone de Beauvoir and her doctoral dissertation on Albert Camus and Simone de Beauvoir, Albert Camus and Jean Paul. She was a founding member of the Simone de Beauvoir Society, an allied organization of the Modern Language Association of America, and she has served as president and editor of the annual journal and biannual newsletters for several decades. She has also enjoyed teaching French language and culture in a July program in Paris for American university students for the past 23 years. Now, Dr. Patterson was named Officier Honoris de Penn Academic by the French government on October 1997 for her work for services rendered to French culture. For me, Yolanda and Liliane, in their life and work, symbolize the spirit of the Society. At my first meeting, which is similar to Toby's really, I met both Yolanda and Liliane and was immediately welcomed into the fold and made to feel I belonged. Since then, my friendship particular with Yolanda, has developed, cemented by a now fairly famous, infamous road trip we both went together a year after I joined, because the next meeting was in Eugene in Oregon. I had never ever been to the States, even though I traveled most of the world. So I made Yolanda and said, where is Eugene? Where is our, how do I get there? She said, fly to San Francisco. I'll meet you. And we both go there together. I've always wanted to drive up the coast from San Francisco to Orlando. And so we did. Now, we were both at the time grieving at the loss of our life partners, which for Yolanda was very, very recent. For me, a couple of years before. And I think maybe it turned into a sort of Thelma and Louise trip. But we're going to put in this. And I still smile and laugh about it. With my extensive knowledge of the US, I'm not an expert. But it really was a trip to remember. And without more ado, Yolanda, it's my great pleasure to present you with the award for advancement of scholarship.
Well, thank you so much. It's an absolute delight to be here with all of you. I will betray my age a bit by saying that the main thing I knew about St. Louis until I came here is the song Meet Me in St. Louis. And even though I sing with a church choir, I would save you the problem of listening to me sing that. And I will just tell you a little bit more about the society, and thank you so much. This is a lovely plaque. I'll have to show it to everybody because it has a beautiful picture of Simone de Beauvoir on it, which you can hold up to the light and see. And our society, as you heard, was founded in the 1960s, early 1960s, at a Modern Language Association convention in New York City that was chaired by Professor Jacques Zephyr. And after the session was over, he said, you know, I think it might be a good idea to have something like a Simone de Beauvoir Society. And I said, that sounds wonderful. And he became the first president, and I became secretary-treasurer. But very soon after that, he said he wasn't really that interested in Simone de Beauvoir. I said, I am. And so I was very, very lucky to have one of our very first members, Liliane Lazar, and I said, would you like to be secretary-treasurer, probably become president? And she said yes. And so for many decades now, we have traveled together and collaborated to have as many conferences as we can. Every year we try to have an international conference, and it's been all over the world because our members have been wonderful about volunteering places. And we put out an annual volume of articles, and I would love to have some based on a lot of the presentations here that deal with Simone de Beauvoir. So please see me if you would be interested in submitting them. Volume 30 is about to be put together, so we've had 29 years of putting out the Simone de Beauvoir studies. And I thank you so much for the honor of being here, and also want to give kudos to Peg Simons for the wonderful organization she has done to get all these people together. I'm having a wonderful time. Thank you.
Hi, it's my pleasure to present the award for Liliane Lazar, and I will read a bit of her accomplishments before I do so. Liliane Lazar was raised and educated in Paris. She holds a BA with honors and an MA from Hofstra University. as well as a second master's and a PhD from Columbia University, where her dissertation focused on the concept of freedom in the fiction of Simone de Beauvoir. She has published 2 books, À chacun sa France, with co-author Nadine Dormois, published by Peter Lang in 1990, and L'Empreinte de Beauvoir, published by L'Armaton in Paris in 2009. Author of numerous articles and book reviews in juried periodicals, such as The Contemporary French Civilization, French Review, Simone de Beauvoir Studies, Europe Plurilingue, and La Règle du Jeu. She has served as Secretary-Treasurer of the Simone de Beauvoir Society since 1983 and taught French at Hofstra University from 1983 to 2013. I too have my personal anecdotes. I have to say, when I was just fresh with my first job and a new PhD, one of my very first conferences, might have been my first, didn't check, was with the Simone de Beauvoir Society. I was scared to death. Back then we did not give papers as graduate students, and it was my very first paper, and I really felt like I knew nothing and was in the wrong place, and everybody welcomed me with open arms. I can remember that only a year or 2 later, due to some difficulty in my own life, I didn't have funding to go to the next conference, and Yolanda got on the phone, and another society member that lived in California put me up so I could come to the conference. So these are wonderful memories for me. About Liliane in particular, I've spent a number of lovely outings and dinners with her at different countries in the world, including Sardinia, and we had a wonderful time in Spain last summer. Liliane was always quite a joy to meet at these conferences because she would always dress very creatively and flamboyantly, and I always looked forward to seeing what her new outfit would be. Anyway, with all those fond memories, it is my great pleasure to give to Liliane this award for advancement of scholarship in Beauvoir studies.
Thank you, Barbara and Peg Simon, for giving me this wonderful award. I'm very grateful, and it's such a pleasure for me to come to St. Louis, which I think, I don't know, it was named for the King of France. Yes, it's true, and I was also working on my PhD at Columbia University. I met Jacques Zephyr that asked me to be the secretary-treasurer. Well, being a treasurer had never been my calling, but for the sake of Simone de Beauvoir, I accepted. And when I started, there was about 30 members in the society, and it has been wonderful to see growing to almost 200 members all these years. And of course also, as Yolanda mentioned, I'd always look forward to meet our members and write me, once they send me checks, they send me with their check little kind notes. And it's always wonderful to go to the meeting and to meet the members. And also, of course, besides the meetings being in the United States, I feel I've traveled through our Simone de Beauvoir Society, because we had meetings in England, in France, in Spain, in Sardinia, and of course, in St. Louis. So it has been a wonderful experience for me. I'm very grateful. So I hope that we can keep working together to spread the message of Simone de Beauvoir to our students and to those of you who are all interested. For me, it has been a wonderful experience and a pleasure to be a treasurer.